What's up, everybody? Thank you for watching my channel. As an independent artist, your support does mean the world to me. I do have a Patreon. I'm trying to get to 40 patrons by July 1st, and I'm currently at 34. You can join for as low as $3, and there's some very cool benefits. Please consider joining. If you're an independent artist looking for graphic design, reactions, or music reviews, check out Indie Amplify as well. I am listed on there and would love to help you out. Before we get into the reaction, I'm just going to play a little snippet of a song I have coming out July 2nd called Hope I'll Be Okay. Thank you for tuning in and have a great day, y'all.
I'm doing drugs just to ease the pain. I gotta feel this way just to feel okay. I saw the look in your eye, like I'm not the same. I guess I changed, yeah. Still I keep pushing through the pain while my life goes down the drain. Seems like just the other day heard my mama yell my name. Better stop playing in the rain. Son, that's not how you were raised. I'm still trapped in a cage. Hope I'll be okay.
What's up, everybody, and welcome back to the Jackson Files and the Jackson Reaction. Today we're going to check out a case. It's called the Unsolved Case of Elizabeth Barraza, I think it's pronounced. This is another coming from That Chapter's channel. If you are new to my channel, please like, comment, and subscribe. I will put a link to That Chapter's channel as well in the description. If you want to go show him some love and let him know that Jackson sent you, I'd appreciate that. And I'm going to get right into this. This is the Unsolved Case of Elizabeth Barraza.
Hey you, and welcome. My name is Mike, and in this whole video we're gonna take a look, have a go maybe, at a very, very strange and unresolved story. It's from 2019, it's in Texas, and it's bizarre, which, as soon as I say Texas...
Fairly new one, 2019, in Texas.
Yeah. In the town of Tomball, located 40 minutes northwest of Houston, lived the Barrazas. That was Sergio and Elizabeth Barraza. What happened was that in the very early hours of 2019, back in the day, Elizabeth Barraza was setting up a wee garage sale, right? Selling off a few bits and bobs, odds and ends. From there sprang a mystery, which is unsolved until this very day. Hopefully not for much longer. Let's get into it. Tomball, Texas is the locale for this one. It sits in Harris County, and it's not terribly big, home to about 12,000 people. It's a suburb of Houston, and its crime rate, it's lower than most. It is, on average, a very nice, safe, calm place to live. And so, living there were the Barrazas at 8623 Cedar Walk Drive, a nice, quiet neighborhood. A house they had been living in, well, when our story really begins, they'd been living there for close to 3 years. Elizabeth and Sergio had been married since 2014, and in January 2019, their 5-year anniversary was fast approaching. By all accounts, the five whole years they'd been married, and even more, they'd spent dating, were very, very happy. Their relationship was great. They were best friends, best buds. They had a caring, loving relationship. No major fights, arguments, anything like that. They weren't parents, at least not to humans. Together, they had a small dog. Elizabeth was thoughtful, caring, someone who wanted to help. And not just wanted to, did. Elizabeth was obsessed with things like Harry Potter, Star Wars. She had been since she was a young'un. That's actually how Elizabeth and Sergio met, through their love of geeky stuff. They would go to Comic-Con together every year, to the point that her and Sergio were members of the 501st Legion. A group which dresses up as characters from Star Wars, mostly stormtroopers. One of the main things they do, and Elizabeth did, they would go to hospitals to try and, cheer up children, sick people, just make people feel better, put on shows and that kind of stuff. By day, she worked as a data reporter for a pipeline inspection company. And by other days, she dressed up to give people happiness, even if just for a brief moment. And it was all over in a brief moment in the early hours of January 25th, 2019. That morning, 29-year-old Elizabeth, she was preparing. She had a big day ahead. It was a Friday, and she was setting up a garage sale. See, Sergio and her, their anniversary was fast approaching, as I said. 5 years. That's wood. To celebrate, they were going all the way to Florida to, Universal Studios, Wizarding World of Harry Potter, whatever, all that kind of stuff. Orlando theme parks. They were preparing to leave 2 days later.
That's pretty crazy. That's pretty close to me. It's like a hour and a half from where I am right now.
On the 27th of January. Excited was the word. Elizabeth, she had gotten luggage that looked exactly like Harry Potter's. She had made these custom like wizard shoes. They were dying to go. They were already packed. So, Elizabeth, she was going to have her little sale in the neighborhood, get a few extra bob for the big trip. She wanted to, buy Sergio a few souvenirs to celebrate together. So it was a Friday, and Elizabeth had booked it off work. Sergio, he hadn't. He was still going to be slaving away for the day. He worked in flooring, mainly installing carpets. He left their house that morning at 6:48 a.m. They said, "I love you" to each other, and he was out the door, Elizabeth following him a few minutes later to set up her little stall. And it was 4 minutes after Sergio left that what happened. At 6:53 a.m. that morning, as Elizabeth was outside, a figure approached her. This was all caught on a neighbor across the road, their CCTV. To the right you can see a car, headlights on. A figure passed and approached Elizabeth, whipping out a gun from their maybe jacket, maybe robe.
What?
As you can see Elizabeth taking a step back upon seeing it, startling her. After speaking for less than 10 seconds...
Oh my god.
This person then shot Elizabeth 3 times in the chest. Then, when she fell over, stood over her and shot her in the head as she lay. An execution shot.
That's fucking awful.
Then they sprinted back to their car and drove off. After hearing the gunshots, neighbors called 911 and Elizabeth was rushed to hospital. She would pass away the next day from her injuries at the same hospital she would go to in cosplay to cheer up the sick.
Elizabeth Barraza was an organ donor. Her father told the crowd her body saved the lives of 4 people. And on what would have been their 5th wedding anniversary, her
that's the only thing
husband fought back tears during a vigil in front of their Tomball area home.
That's the only thing I can take away from this so far. It's maybe she was meant to give her life in that moment to save 4 lives. Maybe that was her fucking purpose in life. It's I don't understand how somebody randomly could just in the morning like that, just cut, or anytime really, but just 4 minutes after her husband goes to work, somebody just rolls up on her and just like they said, execution style. Dude.
The important thing here is to focus on justice for Liz.
In the same driveway where Elizabeth Barraza was murdered a week ago.
I'm glad the last things I got to do was kiss her goodbye and tell her I love her.
Family, friends, and neighbors gathered to honor her.
She was just amazing. She was just selfless and she loved everyone.
Most came with a wand
and
or
just
light
the fact that they have footage like that shows it, it's just wow, man, that's brutal.
Neighbor Liz was a big Harry Potter and Star Wars fan. In life, sometimes channeling a stormtrooper for charity and smiles.
You ain't
My
kidding.
daughter Liz spent her life healing and spreading love and cheer to all of those around her.
The 29-year-old was gunned down as she was setting up for a garage sale last Friday morning. A neighbor's security video captured the shooting, the killer running away. Another caught the shooter's truck. No one has been arrested.
And like, didn't even look like they stole anything, you know? Like if they're getting ready to set up a garage sale, you'd think like at least they would steal shit or something. It's crazy that this is still unsolved when there's like cameras of the truck too.
Her family appealed for information.
I love you, Liz. With all my heart.
Then eyes looked to the sky.
Poor guy, man. Can you imagine if that happened to your
It's
wife?
believed that Elizabeth, she was the target. Nothing was stolen. No items, no money, they didn't go into the house. The only thing stolen was her life.
But the same token, like, I mean, unless she normally left for work around that time, like, you think whoever it was kind of knew, they would have had to know their schedule. Like, they knew that he was leaving, and then she would be alone. But I don't even know, man. Like, to me, it sounds like somebody had to have known that there was going to be a garage sale. She was going to be outside like that. I don't know. They were obviously waiting for him to leave to do something. It seems like it.
Mystery motive. A woman shot several times in her own driveway. Investigators believe the shooter may have been a woman. The confrontation before those shots were fired caught on camera.
It was 3 gunshots real fast, one after the other. Then I'll wait a couple seconds, and then it was another gunshot.
Candy Ellis dialed 911. Margarita Barraza says the victim is her daughter-in-law, Liz.
How scary for everybody, even on that street, because that could happen to anybody, man.
She says her son, Liz's husband, left the house for work moments before the shooting.
I'm called my son on the phone, and I asked what happened with Liz or with you. He just told me something happened in my house.
They approached her, quickly, without any hesitation. Shot her 3 times, and when she was on the ground, they shot her again to ensure she wouldn't make it. They wanted to...
Like, and I know I've said this before, but like, obviously it's awful even killing somebody, but like, you gotta have balls to do that, man. You know what I mean? Like, fucking some brave, crazy motherfucker, man.
have this done.
It looks very deliberate to me. We have so much work to do on this case to really determine motive. And
the person, the shooter, honestly, it's very hard to make out who it is or really much
so
identifiable
slow
about them. It's mostly thought that it's a female suspect, but others say it could be a man in disguise. This is, based on how they walk and their stature. But perhaps it's a person wearing a wig, maybe some kind of robe or dress. Elizabeth said, when this person approached, this is from CCTV, "Good morning" to her killer. This would be released later. She wasn't caught unawares. She saw this person coming. So did she recognize them? That's the thing. There were no shell casings found at the scene on the ground, so it led the police to believe that the murder weapon was a revolver. It's like, in the James Dale Ritchie case, we looked at a while back, that's how they tracked him, so. The car was identified, or at least the model was, a 2013 or newer 4-door black Nissan Frontier Pro 4X. Now, what's interesting is that people who lived in the area, neighbors, would say nobody around there drove that car. They'd never seen that car in the area before. They would not know anybody who would drive it. In that area, it was all Fords and Chevys, American cars. This was, not a case of mistaken identity. You can tell by how they approached her, and they seemed familiar with what they did. But get this, right? When the police started, going through more CCTV from the local area, they found a few things that were pretty interesting. The vehicle had driven around the neighborhood the day before the shooting. Then, after the shooting, it drove by again, which is quite interesting as they must have known the shots would be heard and they could be identified. This would lead to an investigator in an interview with People magazine saying, quote, "I feel they contacted somebody and said, 'Hey, the job's done.' And then that person said, 'Are you sure?' And they turned around and drove by the scene one more time."
That's crazy.
The Barrazas also had a Ring doorbell, you know, with a camera, and it seems possible the killer may have known, and so knew to not get close to the door. They never got on video other than, you know, when they're driving by. The fact that this could have been a hit, that it was a hit man, hit person, has come up again and again. But why? Yeah, so there's all that, right? Let's dig in. The police haven't ruled out any suspects, but they never identified any either, at least, you know, at least not publicly. Sergio has come up, as the spouses always do, but, you know, by all accounts, they were very happily married, and the usual reasons don't seem applicable here. The police, they searched both their devices. They found no indication of marital strife, either of them having an affair or anything like that. They also found no indication of them being threatened or, well, anything you think.
Like, it looks like a beautiful neighborhood, you know? Like a well-off neighborhood. I feel like they had to have known her. I mean, why else would some random person just go up and kill somebody like that and flee, and like just to do it, you know?
It might lead to them being shot and killed. Elizabeth was a lovely person. There's no reason someone would do what they did.
Life just doesn't make sense at times. And this is one of those times that it's just something that just really goes against nature. But to know that there's video evidence
definitely looks like a woman
of somebody actually committing this act, and the person is still out there, is just mind-boggling to me. In this day of age, I would have assumed they would be being served justice for what they did to her, because she was just so innocent.
And this seems like a hit. Somebody purposely wanted her dead and made it happen. But why? Okay, I mean, you know, sure, it could have been random, right? But I don't think so.
I feel like he's saying everything I'm saying.
I don't think this was a random attack, random shooting, like a killer, a serial killer or something like that. If it was, though, tracking this person would be tough as shite. But let's take a look at some more facts, which I don't think point that way. The killer was not from the area. Drove around the neighborhood the day before, scouting ahead. Sergio left minutes before the shooting. Some would argue good timing, unless the killer was waiting for him to leave so they could get to Elizabeth alone. And they didn't steal anything, they didn't even have a goo. And one more thing, this happened like right before 7 a.m. Right, just before everything would start getting busy, rush hour was looming. But Elizabeth would be alone on the street at the time. Elizabeth was there, alone at this time, setting up her little, you know, stall, getting her bits and bobs together, a stormtrooper helmet she was gonna sell, getting that ready. Thing is, she hadn't told anybody what she was doing. It's not like she posted on Facebook, you know, hey, selling off a load of my old shit at 6:52 this morning. Come get it. I mean, one of the reasons she was up and at him so early was she wanted to post signs, you know, around the neighborhood. It was sort of last minute. She hadn't told her work, and if she was working that day as normal, she would have been gone at this time. That means there would have been a very small window between before rush hour, when, you know, people started being out and about and somebody could just quickly look out their window and after hearing the gunshots and see them. So it has to be before then, but after Sergio left. And also Elizabeth was on a quiet street out in the open. Other than close family, friends, no one would have known she would have been there alone at the time when the streets were quiet. And even still, it's pretty ballsy, no matter the time, for a killer to walk up and shoot somebody in the wide open.
I tell you, I should make these videos. We've said everything the same.
In the middle of the street like that.
It is fucking ballsy.
The killer was lucky there wasn't more footage caught. In the months
dumb,
and years that followed,
ballsy.
very little was released.
I do believe that there's more than one person involved in this, and I do believe that there are some people out there that maybe have a suspicion that someone they know might have been involved in this.
Richie's found no reason anyone would want to kill Barraza. He's ruled out robbery. Nothing was taken, but he is working on a new lead with the Texas Rangers, but will only tell us this.
But I do feel that it has a very good chance.
I'm live recording this reaction, by the way, in case you think I'm talking to random people.
Of revealing
Good morning.
Some positive information that could lead to identifying a suspect.
In 2020, authorities announced they had a warrant which they were hoping could solve this thing.
The results of that warrant will be very critical to this investigation and most likely expose a suspect and who was responsible for this.
But seemingly nothing came out of that. On the 21st of January 2021, more footage was released by the police to the public. This is now about 2 years since the shooting. It's the Barraza's Ring camera that morning. It's the footage and also the audio of what happened.
We're hoping that someone will see this. Hopefully they have a heavy heart and they know something. They want to come back and tell us what happened, what they know.
What would you want to tell the suspect?
I hope your heart is heavy. I hope you can't sleep at night. And that you know we're never going to stop looking for Liz's murderer. There's no time limit on this case.
Now guys, at this point I just want to put a bit of a warning. You're not going to see a whole lot of what happened, but it is the audio recorded of the event, and it's not easy to listen to. It's disturbing. If maybe some of you guys want to skip ahead to when you see my ugly mug again.
Definitely disturbing, man.
Now, it's nearly impossible to make out what's being said other than the good morning Elizabeth says, but it sounds like you can hear kill you being said. Unfortunately, the killer probably knows maybe they're being recorded, so is speaking very quietly, which, well, doesn't really give us much at all. Elizabeth's dad said, when he heard it, Elizabeth sounds like her happy, cheery self. This is before the killer pulled out the weapon. It also kind of sounds like she didn't recognize them, whoever they were. She didn't sound, you know, oh hey, it's whoever they were.
Looks like a female the way that they were walking up.
Which then, you know, lends a credence to it being a hit, or somebody else, if it was intentional, and I believe it was. But why? Now, the police have said they've identified people, not naming them. They said Sergio, other family members, they've all cooperated with the investigation. There's currently a $20,000 reward at Crime Stoppers of Houston for any information leading to an arrest. The reward actually, it kind of got there because of a donation from Peter Mayhew's foundation. He's the guy who played Chewie in Star Wars.
Not cool.
But unfortunately, to date at least, that's it. That's where we are today, with no clues, no released clues as to who was behind
Excuse me.
the murder of Elizabeth Barraza, or why anybody would want her dead. Was it a hit? Family member, friend, co-worker? Somebody from the 501st Legion, something to do in that world of cosplays and stuff? Did she piss somebody off, you know, unwittingly, and they wanted her gone? Well, somebody was angry at her enough to either go after her themselves or send somebody after her. Hopefully, one day we will find out who. Thank you so much for watching.
Pretty awful, man. Hopefully they do find her killer. It seems like she was, it really does seem like she was killed for no reason. I don't know. I tend to put myself in other people's shoes. I'm very empathetic at times, and I just think to myself, like, what if I just left for work and that happened to my wife, you know? Like, crazy world we live in. I appreciate everybody tuning in. It's going to play a short merchandise video after this, and then thank you to my patrons. I appreciate everybody watching. Have a great weekend coming up, and stay safe, and I'll see you next time.
When I look up at the sky, I just wonder.
Just want to give a quick shout out to all 34 of my patrons. I really appreciate your support and helping me do what I love for a living. I really do appreciate it. Shout out to my gold tier, Elena, the one and only. She is my lead moderator as well and a great friend. Downtown Raps, my one and only purple member. Mike, my one and only red member. And my 3 blue members, Ann, Diver Scott, and Ska Crew. I really appreciate you guys and all the other patrons. Thank you so much for all that you do and for helping me continue to do this.